There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The Champions League semi-final and quarter-final draw has been announced for 2024. And Manchester City will play Real Madrid in the quarter-finals as a repeat of last year's thrilling semi-final and even the year before's thrilling semi-final. Man City will play Real Madrid for third year in a row in the Champions League. And I can bet you any money, if Chelsea were in the Champions League this season, they would have also played Real Madrid to make that 4 years in a row. But I digress. Let's have a look at the tie from a City point of view. Well, first of all, the main talking point, the biggest part of this tie, and I think what definitely puts this tie in City's favour is going to the Bernabeu first. Because if there's one thing when it comes to playing Real Madrid, you do not want to be home. You do not want to be at home first. You do not. Because yes, you might win. You might win. We won at home against Real Madrid. I was about to say Liverpool won at home against Real Madrid. They didn't. That game was kind of nuts. But what I'm saying is you can win at home in the first leg. But as soon as you go to the Bernabeu, anything can happen. We literally saw what happened when we went to the Bernabeu and Rodrigo scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. That still haunts me to this day. But we saw what happened compared to what happened last year, where we were able to keep it at 1-1, bring the game to the Etihad, and bam, we cruised to a 4-0 win in possibly one of, I think, the best City performance I've ever seen in my life. So I do think we edge it, especially with that octopus Courtois being injured. And I think it's Lunin they've got in goal because Kepa's been dropped because he is woeful. So I definitely do think we could beat Madrid comfortably. I think we could beat Madrid comfortably, depending on how Pep Guardiola sets up the team. So I just think, again, like last season, even though obviously this is in a lesser round, you go into that first leg in damage control and there's damage limitations, and you just keep the score down. You don't necessarily go for the win. You kind of play for a draw. You kind of play for a draw in that first leg at the Bernabeu. Bring them back to the Etihad with as low a score as possible in our favour. So obviously we could win 2-0, but like keep Madrid scoring to a minimum in that godforsaken stadium, and then to show them what we can do under the lights in front of the Etihad, because we've produced some magic nights as of recent at the Etihad in the Champions League, and we're definitely on course for doing that again. But if we do make it past Real Madrid, who do we have meeting us in the semi-finals? And it's either Bayern Munich or Arsenal. So if we face Bayern Munich, if it's Bayern Munich that goes through, it is just the quarterfinals from last season. Quarterfinals and semi-finals last season reversed. Obviously, I was playing Bayern Munich first and then playing Madrid. It would be that. Or we'd be playing Arsenal. Title rivals Arsenal. And yeah, we don't beat English teams in Europe. So let's just hope that if we go through, that it's Bayern that goes through. And I think it will be Bayern that goes through. That I've seen the script, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen the script. I've seen Chelsea's most successful manager of recent years and Tottenham's best ever player. Yes, that is a Bayern win. That is a Bayern win. There's no way that the Mr. Spurs himself, Harry Kane, and Super Tommy Tuchel of Chelsea don't beat Arsenal. I can just see it happening. I think going to the Allianz will be a new experience for the club, not for the club, but for the team, for the squad, and I think it will be a hurdle that they can't get over. I think it will be a one too many. I think it will be a very, very difficult place to go for them, and also they don't have the best record in Europe under Arteta. They don't have the best record in Europe in general, never winning a Champions League. I can happily say that now and not be committing any friendly fire. But yeah, and obviously Bayern Munich aren't great at the moment, but they need a trophy. They can't end the season trophyless. And with the league slipping away from them, with Leverkusen looking unstoppable, especially with that performance they put in the Europa League last night with, I'm pretty sure, Patrick Schick being on drugs. He's 100% juiced up. There's no way he keeps pulling this off. But yeah, with the league slipping away from them, Harry Kane especially needs to win a trophy. He can't come into Bayern, a player that's never won a trophy in his career, and then them go trophyless for the first time in God knows how long because of his presence. So yeah, and especially going out to Arsenal, it can't happen. And we've already seen the record that Arsenal have against Barcelona and Bayern in the Champions League. So let's hope history can repeat itself and City can meet Bayern in the semi-finals. But if City were to even win the semi-finals, who would they meet in the final? Let's take a look over to the other side of the draw where we've got Borussia Dortmund versus Atletico Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain versus Barcelona. And before I even break those draws down, look into those draws, give my thoughts on those draws, I think this is written in the stars to be a Haaland, Mbappe, PSG versus Manchester City, oil off in the final. I think that's where it's going at Wembley. Oh, I forgot it was at Wembley as well. That is interesting. But wouldn't mind seeing Barcelona in the final, as long as it's not Atletico Madrid, basically, because I can't deal with watching City play against Atletico Madrid again. That it is one of the most nervy experiences. They actually are a scary team to play. They might not be the best team in the competition, but they are one of the most scary teams, just because of their ability to rile you up, get your players unnerved, help make them lose their cool. It's just their shithousery is unmatched, basically. But that being said, I think they beat Dortmund. I think they're too well drilled of a team under Simeone to go out to Dortmund. I just think, again, especially Dortmund, when I watch Dortmund in the past few years in the Champions League, obviously I don't watch them week in, week out in the Bundesliga, but when I watch them, even last season in the Bundesliga actually, and just in Europe in general, they just play with no experience in the competition. It's probably, again, because they usually do have quite a young squad, new people coming in, the squad's always being rotated, players coming in and out. I just don't think they beat this Atletico team that is very well drilled, and especially because Simeone definitely wants to win a Champions League at Atletico Madrid, with him obviously failing to win 2 finals against Real Madrid. I just think, I think Atletico win that one. And I do think PSG, on one hand, I think PSG beat Barcelona because I just think they're a better team than Barcelona. But at the same time, history is on Barcelona's side. Obviously, PSG aren't the best team in Europe. They have that gene that City used to have, the bottling gene, the just the impossible happening against them all the time. And I just think there is potential for that to happen and Barca go through. But if I was to go just off of a gut feeling, I think PSG definitely go through. I just think some of the things that Mbappe pulls off in the Champions League is remarkable, and that is what it all comes down to. It comes down to individual moments, individual players that can take the game for you, and Atletico Madrid have that in Griezmann. PSG have that in Mbappe as well, and I think that's why those two will meet in the semi-final, and I think PSG will then win the semi-final, just because I think it is just, and there's not even any analysis on that game. I do think, if I was just to do it off a neutral tie, just the tie in general, I do think Atletico Madrid would win and go to the Champions League final. But I just think it is meant to be that Haaland and Mbappe meet in the Champions League final, and for it to be a PSG Man City final. But City is still my favourites, 100%. I think we can go back to back in this competition, and even, dare I say it, we could get a back-to-back treble. I don't think we'll get the back-to-back treble. We'll definitely fall in one of these competitions, especially with how tight things are in the league. Obviously, the FA Cup's never easy. The FA Cup is like the Champions League for us under Pep. We struggle in both of those competitions. historically. So I don't think a back-to-back treble is on, but you know, Pep could always surprise us. But I do think we are favourites for the Champions League, and we could go back-to-back in the Champions League, which I think would then make Pep Guardiola the best manager of all time. But leave your comments down below of the draw. Tell me what you think. Tell me who you think is going to win each tie, and then tell me who you think is going to win the Champions League. Let me know if I'm being too optimistic with saying that City will win the Champions League or not. But yeah, I've been Nathan. If you enjoyed the video, like the video. Comment down below suggestions for the next video. Also, subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel out. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Shut down cases, they belly dots to the can't see faces. Chasing to the bad guy, chase it. You don't wanna be the one like Ace and like G-Take trying to turn them out wasted. Aye, tell a bad bitch come break it. Body come mad, come shake it. Shit then, get back to the basics. Bro, don't shut down cases. They belly dots to the